enlightenment, replied the devotee. There's no time to waste. And how do you know, asked the master, that enlightenment is running on before you so that you have to rush after it? Perhaps it is behind you, and all you need to do to encounter it is to stand still. In this story, the devotee was at least running after enlightenment, but many times we run and run, always seeking more and better and bigger and faster, seeking to fill our lives with stuff, trying to make ourselves happy. But what would it be like to live a simple life, unfettered by the myriad of obligations and possessions and hurried pace that seems to be the lot in our culture these days? Does the thought of leaving behind complicated lives to savor simple pleasures make you sigh? Sometimes when I think about leaving obligations behind, I feel myself just go, there's an ease to that. Almost 200 years ago, our Unitarian forefather, Henry David Thoreau, wrote, "Our life is frittered away by detail. Simplify, simplify." And so he did. He lived for 2 years in a cabin that he built by himself on the land of Ralph Waldo Emerson. And during this time, he cultivated an attitude of simplicity and awareness and wrote his most famous literary work, Walden, or Life in the Woods. In a letter to a friend written the year after his sojourn at Walden Pond ended, Thoreau said this, "I do believe in simplicity. It is astonishing as well as sad how many trivial affairs even the wisest thinks he must attend to in a day, how singular an affair he thinks he must omit. When the mathematician would solve a difficult problem, he first frees the equation of all encumbrances and reduces it to its simplest terms. So simplify the problem of life. Distinguish the necessary and the real. Probe the earth to see where your main roots run." See where your main roots run. This is the ultimate goal of living simply, to strip away the non-essentials of life, sort of like a snake sloughing off her layers of skin, to clear away the clutter so clarity is regained, to move toward the core of life itself. The practice of simplicity speaks to the ability to connect with soul-filling habits and ways that sustain and increase our awareness of being alive, and rejecting habits in ways that diminish life. Simplicity seems so simple, right? Sort of like the anti-drug campaign some years back that urged people just say no. We all know the drill. Buy less, slow down, have more time and resources and energy to spend on significant things, reduce your impact on the earth, have more time available to share with and help others. The impulse to slow down, pull back, and simplify seems to be harbored deep within us. But as we dig deeper and look at where our main roots run, we see that living a simple life may not be so simple after all. In our culture, we seem to have a love-hate relationship with simplicity. On the one hand, we admire those whose lives represent simplicity, Thoreau at Walden Pond, Mother Teresa, and others. And on the other hand, our culture pulls us in a different direction. Many people pride themselves on their ability to do many things at once and titles of multitasker and overachiever are seen as positive attributes and rewarded. Accumulation of possessions is a source of status and pride. As we move into the holiday season, we're bombarded already with advertising and pressures to be good consumers. We're told that our worth is equated to our purchases. If you're so inclined as we enter this holiday season where excess seems to be the name of the game, if you need a chuckle, I invite you to find the YouTube clip of Reverend Billy's Church of Life After Shopping. It's a real thing. Reverend Billy's Church of Life After Shopping. His gospel uses theater, humor, and organizing to encourage people toward more sustainable consumption and away from our consumer-driven mentality. But many times we take the path of least resistance and conform to the cultural norms. We do more, work more, acquire and consume more, even though we know deep down it's not ultimately in our best interests. But there is a high cost to this consumer mentality and whirlwind of activity. It's a Faustian bargain. We find that our energy is scattered and depleted, and that this accumulation of things may actually be contributing to the complexity of our lives. Listen to the words of author Kent Nerburn. Most of our possessions arrive in our lives almost by accident. Gradually, like falling snow, they accumulate around us until they form the basis of our identity. We do not intend this to happen. Most things we acquire are meant to increase our happiness and sense of fulfillment, but their uniqueness is quickly subsumed into the ordinariness of daily affairs. We may wake up one day and find ourselves surrounded by possessions that mean nothing to us. Our freedom is gone, our lightness of being is gone, and in their place is a sense of responsibility and stewardship. We have become curators of our own cluttered reality. We must remember that possessions are really butterflies that turn into caterpillars. We've become curators of our own cluttered reality. Our things have a way of possessing us, although we think that we possess them. We can fritter away our lives attending to things rather than attending to life. Thoreau said, "The cost of a thing is the amount of what I will call life, which is required to be exchanged for it immediately or in the long run." Or as in the title of a popular book, "Your money or your life." The theme that is run through the history of philosophy and religions, that our first priority is not material wealth, but rather mental and spiritual well-being. In Judaism, the Talmud says, "Would that life were like a shadow cast by a wall or tree, but it is like the shadow cast by a bird in flight. To be able to learn and grow in the all too brief time we are here on earth, we must not be so attached to things as they are. When we are less encumbered by possessions, obligations, needs, we can follow the bird's shadow more easily." In Christianity, the Bible counsels us, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust consume, and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moths nor rust consumes, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And of course, there is the Buddhist concept that desire causes suffering. We diminish suffering greatly as we reduce the clinging and grasping addiction to our want. Exterior clutter leads to interior confusion. UU Minister Michael Schuyler notes, Buddhist teachings describe perpetually dissatisfied, grasping, over-anxious people as hungry ghosts. As much as they long for happiness and the experience of true contentment, these sad individuals are unenlightened about how an abiding sense of well-being might be secured. The hungry ghost subsists, therefore, on the deceptively thin fare that the culture provides. Easily appropriated pleasures that dull the cravings, but do not satisfy them. The habit of happiness, knowledge that beauty is more than skin deep, and trustworthy relationships all lie beyond this hungry ghost's reach. This attachment to things reminds me of the scene in a movie, The Jerk. Any of you remember that movie? Sort of a classic Steve Martin movie. And Steve Martin's character is breaking up with his girlfriend. And he's a rather pathetic person. He's shuffling around the room, their apartment, and he's got his pants down at his ankles, if I remember correctly. And he tries to convince her and himself that he doesn't need her or anything else. And he says, I don't need anything except this ashtray. And he takes the ashtray. And this paddle game. That's all I need. An ashtray and a paddle game. And the remote control. That's all I need. Those three things. Oh, and the matches, and this lamp, and this chair. That's all I need. Well, you get the idea. So, what do we stand to gain in living simply? In our oversaturated consumerist culture, the phrase of simple living or voluntary simplicity has usually been associated with the concept of self-denial. But a simple life is not seeing how little we can get by with, but how efficiently we can put first things first. When you're clear about your purpose and your priorities, you can painlessly discard whatever does not support these. You can discard the extraneous as you move toward life and find where your main roots run. In reality, the idea of living simply can just as easily be associated not with what is lost, but what is truly gained. We might gain more freedom to do more of what we'd like to do and less of what we think we have to do, freedom from the expectations of others, freedom from some of the expectations that we put on ourselves. We might gain more time as we reallocate our time and spend less time working and more time recreating. We might gain more balance and peace as we attend to things that matter most and move from involvements that deplete to involvements that replenish, like music and service, nature, time with loved ones, community, laughing, a cup of tea, breathing deeply. Such nourishment has been at our fingertips all along. We overlook the ordinary, everyday joys when we overextend our reach into the world of things. We definitely gain the knowledge that we're helping our planet by choosing to live sustainably. Consuming less is the single most effective and immediate response that an individual alone can do to make an immediate impact on our climate crisis. Live simply so others can simply live. And how do we choose a path that makes us feel human and alive rather than a hollow, hungry ghost? We all have some responsibilities in life that need our attention. Living simply calls us to discern between the responsibilities and the extras. Begin with letting go. Not letting go of the pleasure, but letting go of possession. This is the non-attachment. Lighten your loads. Maybe go home today. Look through your possessions. Give something away. We can slow down. Take time to savor and enjoy the ordinary that can become extraordinary. In her poem, How Would You Live Then?, Mary Oliver asks, what if 100 rose-breasted grosbeaks flew in circles around your head? What if the mockingbird came into your house with you and became your advisor? What if the bees filled your walls with honey and all you needed to do was ask them and they would fill the bowl? What if the brook slid downhill just past your bedroom window so you could listen to its slow prayers as you fell asleep? What if the stars began to shout their names or to run this way and that way above the clouds? What if you painted a picture of a tree and the leaves began to rustle and a bird cheerfully sang from its painted branches? What if you suddenly saw that the silver of water was brighter than the silver of money? What if you finally saw that the sunflowers turning toward the sun all day, every day, who knows how, but they do it, were more precious and more meaningful than gold? As a corollary to slowing down, be still. Stillness allows the appreciation and awareness of life. Oceans roar or whisper without our manipulation. A field of clover emits precious sweetness that no perfume can capture. Be still in nature or in meditation. Sitting in silence allows the self to settle. Breathing, sitting, our lives simplify. And pay attention. Live in the moment, fully aware and mindful. There's a sign in a Las Vegas casino that says, "You must be present to win." And so it is with our lives. Be present to your own life and to the lives of those around you. Moving toward life means to pay attention, live in the present. Now, some of you may know that I grew up in a neighborhood that was predominantly Japanese American, and this is one of the cultures that I feel most at home in. And one of the facets of that culture is the tea ceremony, or chanoyu. In this ceremony, the powdered green tea, the matcha, is mixed with hot water and presented to the guest. And I can't even begin to do it. It's a very beautiful ceremony that's calming and exquisitely complicated, yet simple, and it's both practical and symbolic. This very simple on the face of it ceremony takes years of practice to be able to master all the intricacy. It is the ultimate in paying close attention. And surround yourself with people and things that feed your soul. To live in community means to benefit from the richness and diversity of people and beliefs. But there's a powerful influence on our lives by the people with whom we spend the most time. You may have experienced toxic people in your life, the ones who seem to suck time and energy and are full of drama. And so when we have a choice, we can choose those who will reinforce us, nurture us, and encourage us on our journey. That's why we come here to this beloved congregation, to be in the company of nutritious people, sort of the opposite of a toxic person. And finally, live in a state of gratitude. Go about your life of simplicity with gratitude for all that is your life. When you let go, slow down, pay attention, gratitude for the gift of life usually follows and in turn enriches your life. As you simplify, distinguish the necessary and the real, probe the earth to see where your main roots run. And in this holiday season, may you find ways to move counter to our culture of consumerism and instead slow down, give gifts of time and experience, and cultivate what nourishes your soul and moves you toward life. Amen, and blessed be.